Hello, and welcome to our fourth season of the Undiscovered decade. We've made it to January 1993 as we go through the 1990s, looking for hidden gems of the decade. This room full of backgrounds that are representing the film that we watched this month indicate that we watched something that may have been related to 1950s B movies. The thing we watched was Matinee, which I had never heard of, but it starred John Goodman as this sort of huckster, entrepreneurial movie producer who wants to cash in on cheap movies and easy tricks to try to fill the theaters. And he goes down to Florida right as the Cuban Missile Crisis is about to happen. So we know it's coming, sort of. And he tries to set up in a theater on Key West to see if his tricks will work in a wider audience. He's trying to sell to a bigger money lender to get his tricks into theaters. So as you can see behind me, you have the woman shocked by an ant. His main feature is called Mant, where a guy turns into a man-sized ant. So
and then even bigger.
Oh, where did Jimmy go? Did Jimmy turn into a dinosaur?
Dimetrodon, to be precise, which isn't a dinosaur. It's actually a mammal.
It's a ginosaur. Wait, no, that's.
I can't wait till he's trying to give eloquent film analysis while doing
Are you? I'm curious if you're going to be.
There's been a science experiment.
Articulate. How did you feel about the representation of creatures in this film, Dimey?
Dimey? Just call me Jimmy. Jesus, like seriously, I'm still the same guy. I'm just, a dinosaur.
A little scalier.
Ancient mammal.
See, you can't even remember your own species.
Well, Dimetrodon. My species is right. I just might be a little confused on other things. A little.
He's been asleep for a while.
Oh yeah. But when it comes to the creatures in the movie, they're kind of, they fit the whole pulp B-movie vibe. I mean, it's not really difficult. And well, yeah.
This is a classic of cinema. This is like if The Fabelmans was about Roger Corman instead of Steven Spielberg.
Yeah, it's like one big homage.
More so than Roger Corman, I kept thinking of William Castle.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's his precursor, right?
Yeah. Do you remember? There was a movie called The Tingler with Vincent Price.
Sounds about right.
And all of the theater seats, he installed buzzers, so that when the Tingler escaped, he would shock the audience.
I have heard of that.
Yes. Yeah. So he would do gimmicks like that, and that's kind of what Lawrence Woolsey. Yeah. Lawrence Woolsey's like.
Yeah,
I think it's one of my favorite John Goodman performances.
He's killing it in this. He has a flair for the
but not in the. He doesn't feel like he's like profiteering in a sleazy way.
No, it's
he's really genuinely trying to make people enjoy the movies.
Yeah,
give it an experience as it should.
Yeah, it is a 4D experience.
It's the father of 4D,
especially during the finale when the theater's falling apart.
Yeah, you can't do that everywhere.
Nope.
One night only.
Trying to think if we need to talk about any of the other casts. Really, it's full of children. The other half of the film is sort of centered around the fact that, like I mentioned, the Cuban Missile Crisis is about to happen. So we center on one of the theater goers, who is a young boy whose father is stationed off the shore in between Cuba and Florida. And we see his friends. We see a girl he has a crush on. We see other classmates just trying to prank people. And so the whole love of cinema that Woolsey is trying to drum up is he loves when kids and families are thrilled. So it's sort of from the eyes of this main kid, but also you have the dichotomy between what it means to want to be an entrepreneur like Woolsey and what it is to be a kid scared of the real world. And so I think the thesis at the end, John Goodman says, we're all sort of kids just trying to pretend we know what we're doing. So I don't know the
Yeah.
exact line. I'm
Well, one
terrible
of-
at quotes, but
one of the best parts of this, there's a whole monologue that he says where it's just like the magic of specifically horror movies is like, you know, it's going to end at some point, but everybody just goes in there to be scared and just be involved in the same experience. And it's like, it's a better version of that Nicole Kidman thing that shows before every movie now.
yeah.
AMC.
The-
I don't like-
yeah. We all go
Um,
to the movies to feel things.
Right. It's one of the best lines about, you know, Hollywood loves movies about movies. And even though this was like a hidden gem, it was a B movie about B movies.
Hmm.
And it's like got some of the most heartfelt empathy toward, you know, the entertainment industry as a whole. Even the fact that, like, you know, this is happening during the Cuban Missile Crisis, and John Goodman is just like, well, people need a distraction. You know,
Right.
this is all
Yeah.
everything
it's all-
anyway.
It's all innocent too. He's not trying to distract them so that they're ignorant of what's going on. He just
Yeah.
wants them to be happy, despite there's always going to be something like
Yeah.
this.
Yeah, even
So-
before they get into the theater, he's putting on a show by paying people to protest the film.
Yeah, that was a
Yeah.
good scene too, with a bit of cameos from a regular Joe Dante
Yeah.
actor,
No, and
as
it's
well as
funny
John
that-
Sayles, a
Yeah.
person Jeff and I have met.
It's funny that these like protesters that he's got hired, like you'll see them in the background of his movies that are in the movie.
Yes.
Hmm. That was funny. I love when you pointed that out. Do you know who we met, Jeff? Did you realize this?
No.
So the taller of the two protesters is film director John Sayles, who also has done a lot of B movies. He
Yeah,
came
yeah,
up with
yeah.
Roger Corman, so you know who that is.
Yeah.
Did you recognize him or know that was him?
I think I recognized the face. I didn't know immediately who he was.
Yeah.
So,
Jeff
now
and
that
I back in 2011 went to a screening of his, I think at this point, latest film, Amigo, which was about the Philippine-American War. And he gave a talk beforehand, just talking about the film and his career and stuff. So, and it was very intimate. It was like 30 people. So Jeff and I and our other friend Pat got to meet him and then watch his film with him. So that was
My
pretty cool.
God, I genuinely did not recall that.
Really?
Yes, but thank you.
I love that movie.
No, because it's all coming back to me now. But yeah, no, holy
Yeah.
shit.
I feel bad because we were kind of half joking that it was like this was too small of a turnout for a guy that should have a better turnout.
Right.
And I think we think that he may have heard us say that and taken it the wrong way. So if you're watching this somehow, John, we really liked Amigo, and we were just kind of sad because we're in the middle of New Jersey where you're from, and you deserve better. So
It was meant
Anyway,
as
it
a
was also-
compliment.
yeah, it was also fun to see you pop up here because you're probably friends with Joe Dante as well.
He
Not just,
he wrote Piranha for Joe. Dante.
Oh, right. There
Yeah.
you go. So
And who better
Right.
for the source for this this kind of material than Joe Dante, who always pays homage to the atomic age horror movies.
I love it.
Gremlins is kind of like that.
yeah,
That's like a creature feature that probably would have been something produced in the 40s or 50s.
and it could be an allegory to the fear of what happens after midnight in a suburban town, right?
Yeah.
Same kind of idea.
The fear of young children becoming teenagers and their hormones getting out of control.
That's even better. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what
Um,
another thing I love about this movie is just like all of the, like, there's an A plot and a B plot, but there's also a C, D, and E plot too. Because then there's like the kid whose dad is off to war is trying to, like, oh no, his best friend is like trying to go on a date with a girl whose ex-boyfriend, who's like this creeper older kid who's not
Yeah,
he's,
he's
like,
a
he's like in his 20s.
yeah.
Yeah, he's like a beatnik greaser.
They're all probably
And like he has like
looks
bad poetry.
Who ends up like John Goodman's just like, hey kid, you want a job? And then he like puts him in the ant costume.
I'm
sorry, the
and the
man
best part of
costume.
the best part of this like this weird antagonist to like the main character's friend is that like he comes off as like this bad dude, and he's like been in jail for like trying to rob a bank or something or whatever. But like turns out like by the time you like reach the climax of the movie, you realize like this dude isn't like a badass punk. He's actually just an inept like idiot. Like he
He's
just like
just a normal person.
His poetry, like I said, his poetry is kind of just like not that great.
It's weak.
And like he just goes out and goes into these bouts of like just word diarrhea.
Yeah, I love the moment when he's being taken away and he tries to spout poetry, and John Goodman's like, "That's not good, kid.
Yeah.
No, get out of here."
He's just a pretty okay guy in a weird situation.
Yeah.
Did you recognize any of the younger actors?
Yeah,
I've
one of them
seen
was in
some of them, later.
Hocus Pocus.
Yeah, Omri Katz, who played the kid trying to get with the greaser's girlfriend. He ended up in the show Erie, Indiana, which I didn't realize came out earlier than this film. And
Oh,
Joe
wow.
Dante produced Erie, Indiana, and all the cinematographers and other crew members and everything worked on Erie. And that's probably where Omri Katz came from for this. And then he did Hocus Pocus later this year. So these are probably his two biggest things, or
Yeah.
three with Erie.
Yeah.
But then the girl he's hitting on, I know you're a fan of ER, Jeff. I don't know what part of ER you watched,
Yeah,
but
wait a
Noah Wiley's girlfriend, Lucy, who was
Like,
infamously stabbed.
98 to 2000.
What was the?
So she's stabbed by
She was in a Goofy movie.
Bernard from the Santa Claus.
Oh man,
Yeah. Yeah, what an ER episode.
I gotta go back and watch ER.
Oh yeah, it's good stuff. Especially
on
that peak
Mad
moment. She
Men.
was in like season 4 through 6, I think, is
Mhm.
around that time. Maybe 5 through 7. But that's around when I started watching. So that's why I
Yeah.
was excited about her being in this.
Looks like since then
This might be her first thing.
she's been in Mad Men and a bunch of Christmas movies.
She was good on Mad Men too. She's one of the many guest stars. They always
Yeah.
have a person pop up as an agent or a client or something.
Yeah,
One of Don Draper's
of-
women.
a lot of one episode.
Yeah.
flings.
Then the other girl, our protagonist, kid, he meets this girl who's really anti-war and has some hippie parents. She's the older daughter of Mrs. Doubtfire later this year.
And she's
That's
in
why she looked
Independence
familiar.
Day, so-
Like I was trying to figure out who she was. I was like, what? Like,
Yeah,
where,
she
where
has
do
a-
I know her from?
She has a growth spurt between this and Mrs. Doubtfire, I think.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. She looks like really, really young. And then like remembering
Yeah.
Mrs. Doubtfire, she looked like she's like a young adult at that point.
Yeah, I looked her up because I was like, I thought she was like 20 in Mrs. Doubtfire. She's actually probably like 17, 18 here, or maybe 16. And maybe they filmed this earlier in 92. So
Yeah,
that-
she's probably like
you know.
14, 15
right. I don't remember the exact
when
age.
this is filmed. And then later when Mrs.
Like
Doubtfire
16,
comes out,
17.
she's probably 16, 17. Yeah.
Right.
She probably just
Even though
like,
they're
like
both
you said,
90s,
just
right?
like sprouted up and just like, there you go.
Yeah. I have a funny story about this too, which
Oh, wait, no. 13.
not a big deal if we don't want to keep it, but I have a sort of connection to this. One of her last things she ever did was this short film called George Lucas in Love. Have you ever heard of this?
Sounds
No, but it
familiar.
sounds fascinating.
After the famous fan film Troops, which came out around 97 when the special edition Star Wars films came out, there was a whole series of fan films that people started making. They did fan film awards on the Star Wars websites, and it became a big deal at conventions. And one of the bigger ones was George Lucas in Love, where this guy produced a parody of Shakespeare in Love of a young George Lucas at his college. I forget where he went, Berkeley or something. And he is walking around campus having writer's block, and he keeps seeing different things that will eventually become, like, he passes a trash can that looks like R2-D2. His girlfriend has like, do you want to eat these or something, like with cinnamon buns? She has her hair like that. You know, I see Corey rolling his eyes. It's very obvious stuff, but it's stuff you would hate. But around the time it came out, around 2000, 2001, I was cast in The Diary of Anne Frank. And as a bit for our cast party, a couple of the cast members and I wanted to do like a parody lighten the load of how heavy Diary of Anne Frank is. And so we came up with like a little scene that we would perform for the people at the end of the cast party. And so I wrote it based on George Lucas and Love, and I had it like someone writing this play as George Lucas. And so I was like,
Is that where that came
she
from?
she sort of inspired me. Yeah. So that's the line. And eventually we would do other parodies like Ninja Attack. So it comes from this actress, essentially.
I'm learning so much that this is incredible.
Yeah. I knew Jeff would like this. I knew Corey would roll his eyes. So
This is an origin story for the ages.
yeah. I didn't even know I liked this actress this much. So it's cool to see her.
She's in
probably her first
Independence
thing.
Day as well.
Yes, another thing I like, which we were just talking about before the podcast,
That's right.
was my first DVD ever.
And what?
Um,
Independence. Oh, right. I think
Yeah,
that might
yeah.
have been close to mine too. I'm gonna find out one day.
she's the older. Does Randy Quaid have 3 kids or 4 kids? I
3
forget.
kids. Yeah,
So
3, like two,
two
the,
sons.
the
and
eldest
daughter.
son, the eldest daughter, and the youngest son.
Yeah, so she's the daughter.
Yeah.
So also good in that. I feel bad. She could have had a pretty good career. I read she went off and did something else that she's happy with. So
I think she like retired. Like she just didn't
Yeah.
want to. Like 2000 was her last time doing a movie, but she
yeah.
was about to release a memoir in 2015. I don't
Mhm.
know if that ever came out.
Yeah, I wanted to look that up. So
My Year with Robin.
our main kid didn't really do much after this himself.
He's kind
I
of
honestly
bland.
forget.
No, he was in Band of Brothers.
Oh, right. He has a bit part in Band of Brothers.
Everybody was in that.
I don't know how big his part was. I didn't see Band of Brothers. It just looked like
Yeah.
That's just a side character.
Yeah.
You know what I think we should take note of in the movie is Jerry Goldsmith's score, which is a character in and of itself and actually takes cues from the Creature from the Black Lagoon films from Universal.
Oh, cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah. It's very peppy. And it, you know what's the great thing is when that greaser kid does show up, the music turns into almost like Grease at some point. It takes cues from that.
Yeah.
And it fits the mood perfectly every time.
Yeah. It helps keep things moving along.
Yeah.
It hits the right beats when you need to be scared or thrilled or
Very narrative.
worried about the bombs.
Yeah, which that was
Yeah, good
another
stuff.
thing. You know, they were tapping into. Yes, it's a horror movie, but the horror movie based on, radiation, right in the middle of the Cuban Missile Crisis, up the stakes a little bit, and then like one of the special effects is just they made it look like a bomb went off and like there's a huge flash and like the screen is burning, so everyone's fleeing the theater.
They did.
You find out that was all projection.
The breaking the fourth wall with a faux fire, and then have like Mant like rip through the screen in the movie theater.
It's reminiscent of
yeah.
the Blob.
Yeah,
The Blob and the or even going so far
It
as
happens in Gremlins too.
True.
but yeah,
I forgot
We're
about
watching Snow White. They ripped through the
same
screen.
guy.
Yeah.
But even so far as the I forget who the director was, but like early days of motion pictures with the train pulling into the
Oh,
stage.
yeah.
Great Train Robbery.
People were like, "Holy shit!"
Yeah.
What's going on?
You mean from the Fablemans?
I haven't seen it yet, so I have to.
Spoilers, Jeff.
Alright.
This guy becomes Spielberg.
Oh no!
It does have Spielbergian
Wait,
vibe.
but Spielberg's
Does,
dad
doesn't
was
it?
in the Air Force, not the Navy.
Oh my God.
No, it feels like an Amblin movie for sure, though.
I should say Army Air Corps because the Air Force didn't exist then.
I still think we should go into the. We should have a segment where Jimmy talks about the accuracies of military weapons history.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
he was
How was the historical context, Jimmy? They didn't delve too far into it, but it was.
not gonna
sort of
lie, the
there.
historical context is like it's all in the background. Like it doesn't really like it's part of the story, but it's not like the main part of the story. It's like the backdrop.
By
really,
the end, his father's
uh,
coming back from the war.
yeah. Well, the incident,
incident.
not necessarily war, but no, they did like get a lot of cultural things right, and I don't mean just because it's like the 1960s. I mean, it's like he's a military kid, like Navy, hopping around from base to base and not like getting the opportunity to like really make friends is kind of a little bit different for me. But like I remember seeing a lot of kids coming and going. You didn't have to necessarily like live on base. So there was like a lot of army brats off base too. And I
Yeah.
remember, again, like
Do you
they're
happen to
there.
know anything about Key West? Is that how the base down there is? Is there? I didn't even know there was a base on Key West. It makes
I mean,
sense,
there's probably there might have been a base there at one point and like shut
especially
down. Or, like,
because of
probably
Cuba.
still is. It's Navy. I don't really know. I'm gonna say yeah, but
Yeah, weirdly enough, I went on a trip for the Keys, and it's the one key I didn't go to, which is the one every tourist goes to.
yeah.
So, so I didn't really see anything.
Yeah, and like looking at like at like I guess the background and how the thing was set up, like you don't like you get a few glimpses of on base, and really when you see the glimpses of on base, it's the residential area. So like you don't really see the base itself. Although you do see like troops running up and down the beach later on.
I imagine
because of
it's
the Cuban
not-
missile crisis, but like you don't see anything of the base itself.
I imagine it's not a huge thing. It's probably an auxiliary for the main people coming out of New Orleans, you know.
Mm.
But I don't know by heart. It's just
Yeah.
my guess, because especially like you say, they're pulling up on the beach, and it's like, well, this is where we were, so it's just where we have to bring the truck. So they probably had stuff.
Yeah, and
Right.
those guys that were on the beach were like clearly like army. So like I don't yeah, I don't recall ever seeing in the movie like any naval personnel. And the only person that you see in a Navy uniform is the one of the other first kids our main character meets. He's kind of like in like a type, I guess like a JROTC type deal. So he's got the
The
Navy
kid.
uniform,
Yeah.
and like the first thing he was like, "Hey, want to go kill some tree frogs?" And like the one brother's like, "Nah, we'll pass." And they just
Yeah.
turns to his little brother, like, "He's a psycho. Don't play with him."
Yeah. What was that helicopter at the end? It was a
Oh.
test.
I legit don't remember the helicopter because I like
It's
zoned out.
clearly an Apache 505.
Oh my God, no.
He actually did zone out. That was the one thing I didn't like. They had a perfectly fine shot of the helicopter going over the beach, and then they cut to a close up of the helicopter's face for some reason.
What?
Had nothing to do with anything. And then left. I was like, good last shot. Oh, nope. And Jimmy's
Yeah.
like, what last shot? He was done.
I like it was the last shot. Like I was just like, I saw a helicopter and I didn't realize like they like it wasn't his. Did they cut to a close up, or was
Yeah.
it just like, oh yeah, no, I didn't even notice.
Yeah, we panned and followed the helicopter, and then jarringly got real up in its face,
Yeah,
like
'cause
a banked shot of it. Not even
Yeah,
the
once
one they
one-
probably were
yeah.
filming.
Once the movie ended for me, like, I was like, okay, all right, it's just a helicopter now.
That was the
Yeah.
climax.
I just always appreciate when they have a perfect first and a perfect last shot. Like even a freeze frame would have been fine, but
You didn't care for that last shot.
no. But it's not going to ruin the film for me. I liked it.
Yeah.
I actually liked Lisa Jacob, or I don't know if that's the pronunciation of her last name. That's the hippie daughter. I liked her little stand up, like we're all gonna die. This putting our heads between our knees is not gonna do anything.
But then
My mom's talked extensively about that. They would just tell you to hide under your desk and pray for the best. It's like,
Yeah.
how's that gonna stop?
Yeah.
Nuclear
Yeah.
fallout.
No,
was
honestly,
just so you
it
didn't
reminded me. It reminded me of tornado drills when I lived in
Mhm.
Tennessee.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
you did the same exact thing, except before tornadoes, and you survived that.
Trying to think of anything else about the film. Oh, you know what? The first film that they show that he's produced, Woolsey, is the shopping cart one, like the sentient shopping cart, which I
Oh,
thought was
God.
cute. It's supposed to
Yeah.
be like Herbie the Love Bug or one of those other things like
Yeah.
that. And it stars in her American debut, a young Naomi Watts.
Huh.
Yeah, the way that was shot, I was like almost convinced, like, is that a real movie? And that's when like I realized like there's gonna be a lot of fake movies in this.
Yeah.
That's how you know it's great. When you're just
Yeah.
like, wait, did that actually exist?
You know
So
what?
You know, Joe Dante had fun making these little
Yeah.
ones.
You know what's weird, Tristan? You and I saw a movie that kind of predates us in a way
Mm,
because we talked about it last year.
yeah,
Popcorn,
yeah,
which had similar like
vibes.
movies, films within a film.
Yeah,
Now
it
we
was
just
more of a
gotta have
horror
film
film,
within
like
a
a
That
film.
was
straightforward
more of a
horror.
horror film, yeah. But
Yeah.
it was campy and tongue in cheek too.
Yeah. Yeah, I actually like this better, but it's because it has the love of
I-
cinema, and it's, I think, better made.
You know
Popcorn's
what?
fine.
We see so many movies about the magic of cinema, but it's always about what's on the screen. I think this is one of the few movies that shows like it's also about the atmosphere and the environment in which you
Right.
view the movie.
Yeah, smell
Like
of the
you-
popcorn, the sound of the projector.
Yes.
A nuclear holocaust around the corner.
Yeah.
You know, the usual.
Yeah.
And he's actually like making adjustments to the actual theater seats. Like you see
Right.
the action that's happening in the theater and not just the movie itself.
Because I'm not speaking for myself. I'm sure like each of us could probably pick out like a theater experience that was distinctive
Mm-hmm.
of each of the movies that we've seen and how memorable that is along with the film that we watched. So I think that's something that Joe Dante nails in this, which
Yeah.
you don't see a lot of.
And I love old picture houses like this. This is like theaters on Broadway now, but
Yeah.
they obviously, I know that there's kind of a line at the end where that guy, the money lender, is hinting like we can add theaters to this when you rebuild. It could be, it's the wave of the future. We'll have multiplexes. And that's sort of what's killing the theater. Like you don't have one run showings for a
No.
week. And all these movie houses that are still around are doing different things. Like the one in our town right now is just doing theater. It used to be the movie house.
Yeah.
So it'd be nice if these places could have cinema again, even if it's just like showing Gremlins or something.
Well, there's
Yeah.
wait, a couple towns over from us in Denellen, they still have a movie house, right? But like they
I
play.
don't know that they're
they have-
showing stuff since the pandemic started. They've had
No.
comedy shows, but every
Yes,
time I
it's been-
pass, it's
They've
like
always
have your
yes.
birthday party here on the
Yeah,
marquee.
it's been a while since
Yeah.
I had last passed
Well,
by them, so I have
they
no
They
had,
idea.
also
um,
they
What
also
they're doing.
only for a while they just did kids movies too.
Right. They had
Yeah,
for up until maybe the beginning of 22, they had the poster for Onward because that was the last thing they were showing there before the pandemic started. And they finally took that down around March 22. And right now they have a Bruce Springsteen or someone else tribute band coming this week. And so I don't know if they'll ever show movies again. They haven't had anything on the marquee. And Westfield, which was one of our biggest theaters we will go to for indie films, is just an art gallery now.
Really?
really?
Yeah, I just
Oh,
saw
crap.
that this week. Yeah, they shut down in
That's a
2020 as
weird
well.
spot to have an art gallery.
I know, but it's what's happening. There was a company that bought
Look.
that and the Cranford Theater, which was a town
mean,
or so over.
If it was a theater that played a lot of indie movies, and I guess like that's an easy transition for like that crowd.
Well,
But like it would be just that crowd and not like anybody else in the town.
it used
right?
to be the one that had the bigger films, and Cranford would have the indie films. And now Cranford plays both, but more the big films. So they have Avatar in Cranford now when they never would have.
That's
I don't
gonna
think
be
they did
the
in 09.
weirdest experience because all of those screens, I mean, maybe they've renovated, but all those screens
They
are just
did.
like very tiny.
Yeah.
Mm.
Like I can't imagine watching, I don't know, still paying the same amount of money to go see Avatar on that size screen.
Well, I think they're still good, well priced. They're not $16 for Avatar. They're probably 10 at most. So
This podcast brought to you by
the specific theaters in New Jersey,
right.
in Central Jersey.
Go support
So,
non-multiplexes.
I did bring this up because I want to look into the Brook, the one in our town, potentially having films. There's a theater in
Yeah.
Rahway, New Jersey that has it has a projector and they run 35 millimeter films. I just
Yeah.
saw the Last Picture Show there, but on actual film. So I'm curious if I don't know the process of acquiring film to showcase for a little bit of money to feed itself, you know?
Yeah.
Mm.
I want to
that's-
present it to them. So this is something I've been thinking of.
Well, good.
so.
I mean, that's definitely see that's the thing is I think especially since the pandemic is kind of, it's never going to be over, but it's slowed down enough to the point where people are doing this again. We need to start bringing these things back.
Yeah.
Kevin Smith did that thing. He bought the Atlantic City movie house or the the
It's the one
Atlantic
in
Highlands
Red Bank?
movie house.
Atlantic Highlands.
Yeah. And turn it into the Smod Castle, where like, sure, he shows his movies, but it's just like it's like a 5-screen theater, I think, and they do like the birthday parties and stuff for the kids. They show regular movies, and seems almost weekly he does like talkbacks with like horror movies and like all sorts of different things, just like celebrating the medium
Right.
rather than just like, hey, I'm just going to show only my movies, which he totally could and still
Right.
make a ton of money. But like, you know, his childhood dream was to own a movie theater, so he's got that now. And I think, you know, it's a really cool idea, and I want to go see something there. I mean, I was there for
I do too. Yeah.
for some other shoot, but I haven't actually seen a movie there yet. But I think that would
Weren't
be,
you there for the commercial for it?
yeah, I was
sort
there
of?
for like
A
basically,
special feature on
Right,
Clerks 3.
yeah, I was working there on the day of the grand opening, and they
Oh,
were
cool.
shooting like the pre-show thing with Jay and Silent Bob telling you to
Mhm.
shut up before the movie.
Okay.
As
Yeah,
part
so
of it.
they did their own Nicole Kidman presentation,
Yeah,
and they're kind of the modern day Lawrence Woolsey. So,
Right.
see, we brought it back around.
right, exactly. But the whole point, I mean, like, and I'm glad that we went into this discussion because
Yeah, actually,
that's what this movie is about. Like, yeah, it's kitschy, it's got dumb jokes like B movies did back in the day, but it's like it's a celebration of the medium, which is a good way to start this year, I think. So I'm glad that we went with
Mhm.
this one.
Oh yeah. Gotta
Yeah.
love that cinema.
Cinema, Atomo Vision.
yeah. So what would we grade this?
I'd give it an A plus.
Nice. Starting off the year right.
Yeah, solid A plus.
I would
Maybe even an A
also-
plus plus, to be honest.
I would also A plus. This movie had everything. It had John Goodman.
This movie was really good at like having subtle introductions for like secondary and tertiary characters, and then like you'll forget about that character because they're not really that important, and then all of a sudden they show up again for the climax to have like have their like part of the story have a fitting ending.
I would probably give it. I hesitate to give it a B for a B movie, but I probably would actually give this an A. I really liked it.
It's a B movie.
Mhm.
Here
That
comes
would be
Corey.
Jerry Seinfeld. Oh boy, yeah.
I would
Left the
probably
best
give it
for
a B
last.
plus.
Oh.
I don't. It's not quite my favorite Joe Dante movie, but it's up there. It's definitely one of his unsung movies because obviously it didn't even make back its budget, which wasn't much.
Mm.
It was produced on 13 million and it only made like 9.
Yeah.
Ooh,
It's very
well, that's
vibrant.
rough.
Yeah, it's vibrant. It's witty. It's Valentine's to the schlock that he grew up on, and like I said, it's a good trip back to those nostalgic days when we were terrified of what was gonna come of us from the Cuban Missile Crisis. Yet we were soothed by the fact that we could still escape into the magic of cinema.
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 Yeah,
Cinema.
I like that. It made you feel alive again.
I got warm.
Corey has a heart.
Yeah.
I don't know. We can't go that far.
Oh boy.
Let's not.
He
tell.
has the beginnings of a heart.
It only
Love
took
that.
4 years in the podcast.
Yeah, right.
Maybe there's a pulse there.
Yeah.
The real
Speaking
hidden
of,
gems are the friends we made along the way.
Speaking of movies in
Being
which
alive.
people almost didn't have a pulse,
Yeah.
you ever see Alive?
This was our other choice for what we could have done in January. I think
Oh,
we made the
no.
right choice because Alive is depressing.
Oh yeah, no. Like
No.
thing.
This,
no depression.
yeah, this movie doesn't give you the warm fuzzies. This gives you the cold chilies.
Jesus.
Not in wintertime. I don't want none of that. Thank you.
Yeah,
It's January and it's freezing outside. No.
it's about a plane crash in the Andes.
I'm surprised this got dumped in January. Do you think it was supposed to be an
Yeah, I
Oscar?
feel like it had. It
Oh.
seems like it's something that should have got qualifying run.
Yeah, but I guess not.
I mean, this
Um,
movie probably should have been a summer movie, not a Oh, January movie.
Well, the funny part is like it's not like Vertical Limit. It's not like an action movie. It's more of a drama. So that's why you would think it would be more suited to like the fall season. But I guess having seen the movie, it's not great.
Oh,
It's adequate.
my guess is it became a hit because of the stars being famous. Like
You say
Ethan
it's
Hawke was on a
depressing.
run.
You say it's depressing, but I feel like they kind of hold back on some of the more gruesome stuff in the movie, like obviously like cannibalism and stuff like that.
I'm only going off of what I know. My parents went to see it, and I had a babysitter or something. So
It's a tame movie.
I've only heard of it.
But it does have a lot of people that people of note, like Ethan Hawke's in it, Vincent Spano,
Mhm.
Ileana Douglas, Josh Hamilton, and it's actually narrated by John Malkovich.
Oh,
Really enough, but it's not surprising that it probably didn't. I remember some of the movies we discussed last year, and December was pretty crowded in terms of Oscar nominees, so it's not shocking that this got pushed.
though it is notable that it was. Is this Frank Marshall's directorial debut? No, he had done Arachnophobia.
Did Arachnophobia, which is really good.
Yeah.
Here's a movie that absolutely probably should have got dumped in January. Body of Evidence, which we talked about Madonna briefly during Dick Tracy, but I don't know how you guys feel about her acting abilities, but we could say she's a little unrefined, and this movie kind of plays into her image as a sex pot because she's on trial for murder for basically fornicating with a man to death. So her body is the weapon. As stupid as that sounds.
Mm-hmm.
And her the attorney defending her is Willem Dafoe. At times the movie seems to be in on the joke, and at other times it seems to be a little turgid, and the sex scenes go on forever. They're trying way too hard to be kinky.
Is it like what was that Marlon Brando film that didn't do well? That was
Last Tango in Paris.
Yeah, is it like that where the sex scenes are uncomfortable rather than actually titillating?
No. That movie just felt uncomfortable because it was Marlon Brando in a sex scene, and this is just like they just are so prolonged that they go on. It's almost like tantric sex. Like they just go on and on and on. They're delaying the orgasm of the sex scene for forever.
Okay,
but it's laughably bad.
That's too bad. It explains a lot about what was going on with Madonna right now.
Because
she goes back to
music. Dare was coming out around this time, so her whole iconography is based on her being the movie. She basically allows herself to be objectified, so I can't really say that it's exploiting her, but she's not helping. She's not helping her public image by doing stuff like this,
right?
And it probably deserved her Razzie it got nominated for. Nowhere to Run, which sounds like a pretty generic title, right? But it was actually Jean-Claude Van Damme's first foray into drama.
Oh.
Well, there's a little bit of action in there, but he tried to stretch by becoming he's a fugitive, but he runs into a family played by with the mother's Rosanna Arquette, and he becomes accepted by her and her kids and everything. She has a frontal nude scene that comes out of nowhere.
Okay.
Oh,
I swear to God, they just threw that in there to hit the it's sexier than anything that is in Body of Evidence. But the action scenes are well done. You can tell that they kind of want to push it more in that direction. Jean-Claude resisted and want to go in the other direction. Because it's the same director as The Hitcher. So the action is very stylish. But he seems to be agonized when he has to do any kind of fisticuffs in the movie. Overall, it's passable, but it's not great. And then in terms of action, this movie spawned a whole series of direct-to-DVD sequels that Jimmy might actually know this movie. Sniper.
Yeah.
You remember this?
I do.
Not a great movie.
Not really, no.
Nah, it's
But
kind of
when you're a kid and you see it for the first time, you're like, oh, that's pretty dope. Then you see it a
It's one
second
of-
time and you're like,
The
I remember
first
being
one
one of
seems
the first-
cool.
yeah, the first one
first
seems
movies
cool.
that showed the bullet trajectory.
Oh,
It tried to visualize that. But the actors in the movie are pretty distinctive because you got Tom Berenger as the seasoned pro, and the rookie is played by Billy Zane.
oh, cool.
Yeah. I
Who's up
forgot
in,
about Billy Zane in
Who's just coming off of Twin Peaks at this point?
Yes. So this is obviously before Titanic, even before the Phantom and all that stuff.
Yeah,
Although it was around the time of Dead Calm, so I think
yeah. They're starting to push him as a heartthrob
right.
or action
Yeah.
star, whatever will work.
and then
Trying to
it
put him in
didn't
things
just-
that will.
then it just
hit.
kind of fell apart and he just what happened to him?
He got stuck in he got typecast as Cal from Titanic, so I think that didn't do him any good.
Yeah.
And then he started to lose his hairline, so that didn't help either. They didn't take it like Jude Law, where he does the character actor work. He ended up in straight to DVD movies. So someone had to do it though.
Yeah.
This also was the movie that got #1 the week, I believe, of Matinee. It came out the same week.
Oh, okay. That's a shame.
Yeah.
Because it's really kind of an obligatory movie. It's not good at all. And it's
Oh, no, it was
like
#2.
6 sequels.
It didn't even get #1. It was Aladdin was still around,
Okay.
and then Sniper, then Matinee, then A Few Good Men.
Hmm.
So, which was our best picture last year.
Alright.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that brings us to a poster boy.
Yes.
Poster
So,
boy.
That's time to shine.
we only have one, Jeff, and this shouldn't be too hard. I'm gonna throw you a
I'd be shocked actually if he doesn't get it.
straightforward.
I don't know, man. I'm getting better. I'm watching more movies, trying to catch up to you.
How did you
So,
do that?
The poster.
Photoshop.
This looks very professional.
This is helping me get better at Photoshop.
Yeah,
This is
I
a
see
better
that.
poster.
All I'm doing is using the smudge tool, and then I refine it. You could see where I don't do it perfectly. Because the
Imagine
light's shining
how
at the
great you'd
top.
be with the marquee tool.
If you know
Right.
what, yeah, I know. That's what actually I should be using.
Yeah.
You could
Slow.
teach me, Jimmy.
I could, yeah.
All right.
Oh, and then the clone tool? Holy crap, you'd go bonkers with that.
Yep. I know what they do. I just haven't ever tried.
Photoshop with Tristan and Jimmy.
So what do you think, Jeff?
All right. So this is the poster itself, at least this version of it, is mostly darkness with what looks like a door creaking open and a bright light coming out like the great beyond.
Mhm.
Part of me wants to say poltergeist or the uninvited or some
Get
sort of
points for
this is definitely a horror movie.
Yeah,
get
remember it's
points
rated
for doing a
R.
horror movie.
Look at it, it's in the corner.
That's how it's
Rated R.
marketed, apparently.
Is it in the corner?
I'm
Yeah,
not
it's in the corner.
no, I'm not a cheater,
Oh.
Jimmy.
There's not much to work with here, so I don't know that you'd be able to come up
Yeah.
with a name or what it could be. I guess you assume this could be what's coming through the door is the film.
Yeah.
So do
Close
you have any ideas what it
Encounters.
would be, like what creature or object or
It's either
horror-
an
horror villain is coming through the door?
it's either an alien, a ghost, or a portal to another dimension. And the portal is the monster.
None of the
Slowly
three.
the darkness is enveloping them.
It's its own thing.
Monsters Inc. 20 years early.
That's actually
His own
kind
thing.
of because
David F. Pumpkins is coming through.
right. Because
David
it's
His own thing.
it is
Elevator.
new, and it might have been better if this came out 2 months from now.
While you were sleeping. No, that's
You gave her.
Oh, I know what fucking movie this is. God damn
Monsters
it.
Well,
in
say
the
no.
Closet.
No, no, no.
You're
I
welcome,
saw-
Jimmy.
Yeah, fuck you.
Peekaboo.
I see.
just
I like
coming
that.
up
You're,
with-
you're gonna
No,
need
I
a
like
lot of
this.
luck.
Come up
for
with a
this
name
one,
or
Jeff.
two.
A
and then
lot of
then
luck,
I'll
buddy.
give you the I'll give him the
Fucker.
I'll give
Yeah,
him the
now I know.
tagline if he
Now
can
you
guess
know I
some
know.
stuff.
It looks like just want to point out that the way that the shadow on the floor was smudged, it looks like a slug trying to go back into
Yeah.
Wow.
the door, which
That
led me to believe
actor's gonna be
hey,
very offended. You called him a slug.
maybe it's
Mm.
Slither, but that didn't come out for another
Yeah,
15
the shadow
years.
looks a little
Yeah.
willowy.
Yeah.
Hey, wait a minute.
You might get the
I know
gold
it's-
on this one.
So I know it's Warwick Davis then. Wait, is this Leprechaun?
Yep.
Yeah.
Sorry, we gave you too many hints. It was too much fun.
No, it was literally just the Willow one. That's all I needed.
Tristan, you know
Yeah,
what
I
gave
went
it
too
away?
far.
You know what gave
Your
it
luck
away
just
for me?
ran out.
The shadow.
No, I was reading
Ah.
the names at the bottom and I saw Jennifer Aniston. I was like, oh no. I knew what movie she was in at this time.
I left that for you. I actually knew you might get it or Jeff might get it. So
I would not
felt
get
bad
it.
for erasing her, but
I don't know.
This was the first horror movie I've seen in my
Ever?
entire life. And I saw
You'd
this at
say
like
it's
4 or
horror.
5.
yeah, it's
Wait,
not
no.
that scary. I saw it when I was like,
I mean, for when I was
It's
a
not
kid, it
that
was
scary. It's not scary at all.
yeah.
It's
I
not,
almost
but, like-
left, by the way, the boot. I almost couldn't
Not
erase
awful.
that, and I thought that might be a
How'd
too
it
much
give
of
it
a
away?
Honestly, I feel like the boot would not have given it away because it looks
Yeah.
like a Wicked Witch thing. It would have been. Is this some sort of like Return to Oz nonsense?
Jimmy would have picked it out right away.
Yeah, I'm sure Jimmy
Ah.
would have gotten it from the boot. But then I that's why
Maybe
the shadow
not.
looks a little
Um,
sluggish because the shadow is actually the boot rubbed down into the shadow.
Yeah.
This is Jennifer Aniston's first movie role, is it? I think,
Mhm, I believe so.
or first big movie
It's
role.
first, I think she was on a TV show before Friends, and then this, like she had a
Yes,
guest
right.
role on something.
She's probably on a pilot for something before this came
Yeah.
out.
Yeah,
But,
But yeah.
Have you?
Ooh,
Have everybody
that's
seen
so-
Leprechaun?
I've seen it. Yeah, have you seen it, Jeff?
No.
Okay, I wasn't sure. We did a whole series.
It's a
I
good
saw
movie.
Troll. I did not see Leopard.
Good.
Yeah, you watched Troll with them. I did not.
I've never seen Troll.
I've only seen Troll 2.
Uh,
Um,
the better one. I
I've
hear.
seen Leprechaun 1 and 2.
I've seen Leprechaun
maybe
1 and
3.
I've
6.
seen them all.
Saw
the one
bits
where
and
he's in
pieces
the
of
hood.
Yeah, I saw
There's
bits and
2 of them
pieces
where
of
he's in the hood.
What?
yeah.
He's in
Oh,
the
yeah,
hood
back
twice.
back to
Oh,
the
yeah.
hood.
Back to the hood. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's the first one? He's in the hood. Is that 4?
No.
He
This
goes
is
there
probably-
pretty quickly.
That's
Yeah,
5.
Okay.
that's 5.
I think
Yeah.
here's how it goes. The first one, he's in some rural area.
Yeah, it's a farm.
Yeah.
Because he was
Basically
locked away.
birds.
Yeah.
The second one, he's in a big city, which is like LA or something.
Yeah, sure.
The third one is when they started going
Predator 2 model.
direct to video, where it's Vegas.
That's where
So it's-
Predator should have gone next.
So is it basically a horror version of Home Alone? So they just put instead of Kevin, it's just a leprechaun in different spaces.
4 is outer space because eventually you know how to go there.
Yeah.
Yeah. 5 is
I think
the
they
hood.
did that too early.
Yeah, 5 is the hood.
Yeah.
6 is back to the hood because
They go right back.
because once you go black, you never go back.
Okay.
Then they rebooted it with Origins,
Oh, right.
which is
That
not even
barely came
Warwick
out.
Davis. It's one of the wrestlers from the WWE. I forget.
Oh, yeah.
but
yeah.
he's not even a leprechaun because it doesn't really speak. It's
Yeah.
a mute creature that you just see it from its POV.
In Origins.
Yeah. And then
Okay.
just the most recent one was Returns, which is it's doing like a Halloween sequel where it ignores everything after the first one.
Okay.
But it's not Warwick Davis. It's another wrestler from the WWE. I forget.
That's fine. Is it any good?
It's
I hadn't
actually
even-
surprisingly the best out of all of them.
I hadn't heard of this
Is it-
Returns.
It's like we were saying, it's got its tongue firmly planted in its cheek, and I think it's a lot of fun.
Mhm.
It's self-deprecating in a good way.
Cool.
The gore effects are creative. It's the best album. That first one's an atrocity. I
Oh,
tried
really?
watching it. It's awful. Good for him. He's dedicated to the role, but it's terrible.
I knew what I was getting.
The pogo stick death is hilariously stupid.
Yeah.
They do some speed ramping in there that's like out of Benny Hill. So
Oh,
bad.
right.
Him in a wheelchair.
Yeah. Yeah, you're making me remember how bad this is.
Yeah.
Mhm. Well, at least we have Matinee. We ended up choosing the right film.
This
Yeah.
is like a movie that would have been featured in Matinee.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's almost like those fake ones in Grindhouse, like Turkey Day.
Oh, they're finally doing that, by the way.
I know. So I figured we might not cover him again this decade, and it's a fitting time we finally got him. He's the star of the film. So I figured we'd do for picks of the month, John Goodman.
Hmm.
I already know who I picked because I thought about it when I chose that we do John Goodman. So if you want to think for a little bit, bring up his filmography. I don't know if you have it off the top of your head, Corey, so we can let
I had
Jimmy
it,
sort of
but I
vamp in his
forgot
head.
what I had.
I know you told me and I forget, actually.
Yeah, no, I'm looking it up.
It's not Fallen, because we talked about Fallen and you said that's atrocious, even though I think it's one of his best roles.
All right, yeah, I know what it is.
It's not my pick.
Are we just going by? Well, he's not.
He has so many films.
I was gonna say he's not the lead in the last stuff.
I mean, it would be neat if we tried to narrow it down to his leading roles, but then you have stuff like Babe or King Ralph.
Can't I ain't doing it.
Yeah.
No, it's pretty obvious. I'm gonna go Raising Arizona.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Oh,
That's what
It
it was. We were
might be my
discussing-
favorite Coen Brothers movie on top of that.
Right. So it was ironic because you said it was going to be your favorite Coen Brothers movie is your choice, and your least favorite Coen Brothers film is my choice. A Brother Where Art Thou.
Yeah.
Big Lebowski.
So everybody's gonna pick the Coen Brothers.
Yeah. I mean,
like,
he-
as soon as you said that, I was like, wait, I don't even have to look at the list. I know what movie I like.
Yeah, he's
Big
such a
Lebowski.
good muse for the Coen Brothers. That
Shit,
those
yeah,
three.
falling out.
I don't want to suggest for Jeff, but there's another great role he has for them.
Oh, I know which one. The most recent one.
No, that's a good one too. Inside Llewyn Davis.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I'm thinking of the one with John Turturro, Barton Fink.
Oh yeah.
I'm still looking. Hang on.
Okay.
Dude's done a lot. Oh shit,
We
he was
did bring
in
him up
Adventures of Rocky and
twice.
Bullwinkle.
Yeah, he was.
Oh,
Oh, he's in that garbage.
Yeah, I think he has a.
I know-
cameo. It's not
guys,
a big one.
guys. Remember, we went on vacation to New Orleans like last year.
We saw.
We
his
were
house.
right in front of his house.
I
Yeah, sorry,
know.
Jeff.
A year and a month ago.
yeah.
we
Some
literally
people
saw
went on vacation to New
packages.
Orleans.
Sorry, Jeff. You had the play.
Sorry.
I know.
We saw packages outside his gate.
Oh,
Yeah, we tried to call for him. It wouldn't come.
John.
Yeah, we
You
looked up
remember
the.
previously owned that house.
Oh no, I don't.
Wasn't it Axl Rose or something?
I don't. I
Oh,
don't know.
it was 9 Inch Nails.
Trent Reznor.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool. I
I'm surprised I remember that from the tour.
I do know afterwards we
Yeah.
looked up where he was. He was doing a tour for whatever he was in back in 21.
Gemstones.
Yeah, he was doing the press for Gemstones. So he was
You
in
looked up where he
Kansas City or
was.
something. Yeah.
You know, you did that when we were on the tour. I remember that.
Yeah.
I want to keep bringing up Jeff's.
Well, that was like when we went to, when Jen and I went to Maine, we went to Stephen King's house, but he wasn't there. Like he now lives in Florida primarily, and they're turning his
Oh.
house into a writer's retreat. So, fun fact.
Yeah.
I went
Let's
to
go.
Providence. I saw H.P. Lovecraft's house, and it just looks like any generic house.
Is he still there waiting to rise?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Right.
Hey guys,
Very
remember
cool.
when we were in New Orleans and like we went to the cemetery tour and we
I'm gonna
saw
mute
Anne
you,
Rice's,
Jimmy.
yeah, Anne Rice's like mausoleum.
Yeah, and she died a week later.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we just said something stupid. We're like, oh, hopefully she doesn't end up there anytime soon. Then she died.
And 2 days later she died.
It was our fault. We jinxed it.
Everybody
We
was saying-
jinxed
We're
it.
probably the last people that weren't her family to see her mausoleum.
Did you know that everybody was saying bad stuff about Nicolas Cage, and then 2 weeks later they announced that Renfield was going to film down there?
In his neighborhood.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh my God. I am so excited for that movie too.
Yeah.
it's awesome.
But anyway,
Yeah.
back to the John Goodman thing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. What do you think picking? He is a
Uh,
big New Orleans fan, so he made a couple of things down there. Maybe you got something.
No,
I was
I mean,
wondering
I
if
know what my
movie-
favorite TV role of his is.
That's fine. Honestly, he did a lot of TV. That was pretty good.
Robot Santa Claus on Futurama.
Oh Oh yeah.
But
that was a good role.
no, honestly, I'm probably gonna have to go with this movie. Like of the things
Hey.
I've seen him in that were not
Oh.
Coen Brothers related,
That's fine.
it was. I really like this movie.
I thought he was gonna pick Monsters Inc.
Honestly, this could be in my top 5 for John Goodman.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or the Flintstones.
Okay.
He's great as Fred.
He is fitting for that role.
He's great in Babe. Just the movie sucks.
Yeah. He always brings some gravitas to the movies he's in. He's always
Wait,
game for anything.
Like a modern day Jackie Gleason.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He should have been the Honeymooners.
we want to go to New Orleans movies. The Big Easy's great.
That's what I was trying to push.
Yeah.
But I don't know that Jeff or Jimmy have seen that.
I haven't.
Wait, The Big Easy?
Yeah.
I don't know. Which one's that one?
I've
again?
seen parts of it.
It's Dennis
Yeah.
Quaid and Ellen Barkin.
Oh wait, he was in Argo too.
Yeah.
I don't think I seen that movie.
Is everybody forgetting Hangover Part 3?
He's great in that.
Legitimately, I don't
Just
remember him in there.
Thud. Guess
Wait,
not.
was he in Hangover Part 3?
He
We were
was.
just talking.
Oh
The
wow.
villain.
We were just talking about arachnophobia. He's
Oh
still
yeah,
in-
you're right. He was. I legitimately don't remember. Like the Hangover, the first movie was like the best, and those other two.
How
were
dare
just-
you?
He was
I'm
in a
sorry, the other two
Oh.
are just kind of there. I don't remember what happened in the second one, and I definitely
Second's bad.
yeah. And
Is
the
that
third
right?
one, like
Yeah.
I didn't even remember John Goodman was in it. Like
I was so bored in Hangover 2.
Whatever.
Anywho,
I love the Hangover.
It sounds like we might be due for a rewatch.
Yeah.
yeah, maybe.
it's been a while.
Although I do need to. This is reminding me I need to watch 10 Cloverfield Lane, which I
He's
have
very good
Oh,
at that.
you know what?
I
He's
was-
great in that. He's great.
because I was a huge fan of the first Cloverfield movie, and I know that there's like a trilogy accidentally.
Yeah, this is still good. The other one
yeah.
is not.
Yeah, Paradox I heard wasn't great.
Awful.
Yeah.
I liked
It's
Paradox.
good. It's a good premise.
Yeah.
and some of the actors are trying at least.
The fact that
but-
they tried to shoehorn it
kinda
into
gets
the Cloverfield
boring.
universe makes no sense.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
the way the ending is what like that got that.
Well,
that-
I'm
that
gonna-
made
I'm
it
still gonna
really
watch it. I'm still gonna
shoehorny.
watch
Yeah.
it.
What are we talking about next month?
Oh, right. So thank you. So next month we're gonna pivot hard drama. I believe is it very upsetting? It's a
Rom-
romance. I don't know anything about it. I've heard the name, but didn't know who was even in it. It's called Summersby, and it stars Richard Gere and Jodie Foster, who we have not talked about yet.
Mm.
So I'm excited to talk about their careers a little bit. I know we did a little bit for Gere for Pretty Woman, but we can really go over him now.
Yeah, but this is like a real role.
Yeah. Oh, all right. Pretty Woman's great. But I don't know really anything about it, so I'm looking forward to finding out what happens. I know it's a period piece.
Yes.
Cool. What a candle.
Was that the final statement on that?
Yeah.
Period?
I won't
Thank
give
you.
away too much from it.
So yeah, remember to rate and review, subscribe. You know now that we're on pretty much anything you listen to podcasts on. So if you're watching on YouTube and you want to tell friends that are driving to just listen on those, Podbean or Spotify, Apple Music, etc. So
Don't let our boyish
great
good
having
looks
you.
distract you while driving.
yeah,
Listen to the audio version.
yeah. So see you next month.
Wow.